And we're live. Good morning. How's everyone?
Morning. Dads with Coffee.
Here we are.
I'm Aaron. This is Keith. And we are Dads with Coffee on April 1st.
April 1st. Let me tell you something real
April
quick,
Fool's Day.
No, I'm not okay. I'm not a fan of the April Fool's Day. Okay.
No.
I'm not a prank. I used to be. I was the class clown. I was the jokester.
I like having some jokes.
I don't
like the pranks.
I don't like pranks at all.
Now if I want to, if you just want to, have a little verbal joking thing because it's April Fool's Day, that's fine.
Yeah, but when you do something at someone else's expense and you make that person feel bad, that's not a joke.
But
that's
putting sour milk in their cereal, that's just
or in their coffee.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Yeah. My daughter to my son.
So here's what I'm thinking.
Oh, my daughter lives for April 1st. She lives for it. She will plan for months the prank she does this to her brother every year.
I like the hey, your shoes untied.
And
April Fool.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
That's easy.
That's fine. But she would think. I mean, it was the deviant nature.
She is not that. She's a princess. Stop it.
Stop it. Stop it.
So I think someone has played a pre-April Fool's joke on me. I left work Tuesday. I left work Tuesday and I come in. I had 6 coffee cups.
You can't seem to find your way home with them.
Easy. I had 6 coffee cups lined up on my desk.
Yep.
And I come in this morning to make myself a cup of coffee and they're all gone. I think somebody.
I don't do pranks.
I
don't do pranks. Ask anybody.
He's playing a joke.
I don't do pranks.
So I'm missing 6 Yeti cups. One of them's my Chiefs cup.
They're not all Yeti cups.
Well, no, I
looked at them yesterday.
They're faux Yeti. Come on.
They're Yeti light. Yeti adjacent.
I don't have that kind of money.
You're right.
So I'm using.
Except when we're given a $500,000 cup right here.
Dennett Construction. So
this is water. This is where we got our loan.
I'm not even sure where I got the Dennett Construction mug, but it keeps coffee hot.
That's what matters.
There's a joke behind that. It keeps hot things hot and cold things cold.
Right.
So I put my coffee and a popsicle in it. So
yeah,
here's to you. Not at the same time.
That's just weird.
It doesn't work at the same time. Okay. That's the joke.
Okay, good.
The hot makes the cold warm.
I got it. I got it. I understand that.
So April 1st, 1893. Anybody know? Trivia day, April 1st, 1893. What happened?
I know, but I can't say.
Anyone? In 3, 2,
Navy,
1.
Come on, Navy people.
General Order 19 established the rank of Chief Petty Officer on April 1st, 1893.
Of which you became one.
I did become one, yes, in 2009. Seems like forever ago.
Right?
What is that, 12 years?
Yeah.
But not.
2 years later, you got out?
No. When did I retire? 14, so 5 years later.
14.
Yeah. Not to be confused with 2006. When the St. Louis Cardinals, who then had Albert Pujols on the team.
Can we talk about the 2004 World Series for a minute?
Who was in it?
St. Louis Cardinals were in it.
Yeah, who was in the 2011 World Series?
Who was in the 2004 with St. Louis? Do you remember?
Did St. Louis win?
No.
Then it doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. Because Boston broke the curse.
Oh, no one likes Boston either. You're not a Red Sox fan.
No, but
okay.
I thought it was interesting.
The curse of the Bambino.
It happened to be against the Cardinals.
You know who
they got shut out.
You know who was cursed? The Rangers right fielder in 2011. How you not play that ball better?
How about the Rangers in general?
They haven't been back since 2011. And I hate for you Rangers fans that are here in Texas.
Right. Hey, the Rangers at least have been back to the playoffs more often than the Cowboys have.
That's just rude. That's rude.
I told you that. Didn't I tell you this? That I've inquired with his agent if Steve Romo can be one of the pallbearers at my funeral so he can let me down gently one more time. I told you that one, didn't I?
This guy. I don't know where he's at today. I don't know where he's at or what he's hauling or what's going on. So we think about, man, we are 1/4 of the way through 2021 already.
Stop it.
Right?
Stop time. Stop it.
It's ridiculous.
Wasn't it? Didn't we just have New Year's Day?
We did.
I mean,
yeah, I remember
oh my
it.
Gosh.
I remember it like it was 3 months ago.
Oh, 90 days ago.
But here I am.
It's crazy.
I'm old, man. I got a married kid. I got another kid that's graduating college, and now I can officially say next month. I got a kid that's finishing his first year in college next month, and I got a kid that's finishing his sophomore year in high school next month.
Right.
Doesn't seem right.
It shouldn't be. I got one finishing first year of college.
I am way too young to be this old.
Absolutely.
There's a song in there. It's
yeah.
We don't use that kind of language in church, though.
Exactly. I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm good once as I always was.
That's right.
A Toby Keith song.
It is a Toby Keith song.
I love Toby Keith.
Proud Okie.
Yes, he is.
Proud Okie.
Unfortunately, went to the wrong school, but he is an Okie.
That's okay.
Okie.
That's okay. You
Played football for OU. And, oh well, he sings nice.
April showers bring
Mayflowers.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
so you have to get through the bad,
yes,
to get to the good.
Let's tie that to a difficult situation. You always hear, why does God allow bad things to happen to good people?
Right.
And there are multiple responses for that.
Sure. One,
you take the biblical route and say, well, there is no one good except one. Right? Jesus is the only good.
Yeah, let's not over spiritualize this.
Right. But what does God cause bad things to happen?
Well, in our reading this last week, the term used in the English is that God hardened Pharaoh's heart.
Right. How
How complicated is that theologically? I mean, that's super complicated.
It is.
Does a good God cause? I mean, did he predetermine and say, Pharaoh, your heart's going to be hardened? Or did God, this is the part I believe, or did God already know what his decision was going to be? But there's a lot of people that want to view God negatively and go, oh yeah, and they point to that.
How could a good God let this happen?
Right. Or oh, so he didn't really have a choice. But I think he did. I think God already knew what he was going to do, and he knew how he was going to handle it. We just sometimes render things in the English poorly.
We do. And then, literally lost in translation.
Oh yeah.
The Bible wasn't written in King James English.
How dare you?
Just saying.
How dare you?
I'm just saying.
Jesus said these and thous. Come on.
He did.
He had to have, because that's what the King James says he said.
I agree. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the King James Bible. We all learned John 3:16 in King James, right?
I learned a lot of my verses in King James.
Right. I am a fan of the New King James Version Bible. I like the way it's written. I don't like the these and thous and the is and the os.
And especially new believers. I really don't. I try to steer new believers, new to reading in the Bible. I try to steer them away from that. Now, see, the thing is, I want them to have, and I know for your students, we want them to have a theologically sound Bible.
But it has to be readable.
But it needs to be readable.
Yeah.
And, so you've got the King James way over on one end, and I hate to break your bubble, but that wasn't the most accurate translation.
No.
When the politics of the day order a Bible to be written, don't you think it's going to favor the politics of the day? Anyway, so I want something that's a sound translation. Mm-hmm. But see, there's some paraphrases out there, like the Message Bible. Now, hey, the Message is great for memes and quotes.
Easy to read.
Okay, but it's not always the best translation. It's not the strongest translation. It's more of a paraphrase. And I think we have to be careful not to read that and digest that every day. It's kind of like, you don't need to have ice cream every day.
Right.
Or if you do, don't have it for dinner.
Right. Don't have it in excess.
Don't have it in excess. So it's okay. Sometimes I think like the Message will, it'll unlock some things and make it extremely palatable to understand, but it's not the healthy dose you need on a regular basis.
Right. Now, our theme verse, Infused Student Ministry theme verse, is out of the Message.
Right.
Because it's easier to say.
Right. And it's good for stuff like that. But for your daily reading and study and prayer time, I think you need something that is a stronger translation, but not over to King's English.
Right. I mean, and you can,
There's diagrams out.
if you understand the message, but you want a little bit deeper, then
NLT.
go to any online service that has a Bible and
BibleGateway.com.
find a parallel Bible.
Yes.
And just, here's what it says in the message. Here's what it says in the NLT, the NASB, the CSB, you know, whichever Bible that you would like to see how it references against. But
you know, on the one end, you have, there's a Bible out there called the Young's
Mhm.
literal
translation. Right. It's like word for word.
It is word, and because nearly everything but English flips your noun verb.
Yes.
It will read, you know, like that. It'll flip the structure because it's literally translating every word literally. I do that in Greek class.
Yeah.
It's like
okay,
I can't read this.
It's like Yoda speak.
It is Yoda speak. It really is. It should be Yoda's Bible. But anyway,
Yoda's literal translation.
It's Young's literal translation. But you know, read this you shall. But anyway,
but that's exactly like that.
And just inside of that is King James.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you move, and then way over here on the other end, you've got the Message Bible. They're not. I'm not saying they're wrong.
Right.
I'm saying that it's more of a paraphrase versus a translation. And so then in the middle, you've got a variety of things. You know, New King James is still over in the more formal reading of things. Then you've got your English Standard Version, or ESV.
ESV, yeah.
Platt's a fan of that. It's a little more high English, a little more formal in its structure. It's like a research paper you wrote.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not King's English, but it's more on the formal side of things. American Standard, more on the formal side of things. But then you get into the NIV, which was strong in the 70s.
Right. And even the early 80s.
Yes. I had to quit the NIV, and that may be a conversation for another time, because of their editorial crew and some of the things that they were moving into the new NIVs.
Right.
You know, if you bought an NIV in the 80s, you're solid. If you bought an NIV in the last 5 years, there's going to be some gender issues with God that are there. And I think, you know, and it just becomes complicated.
Right.
But then you've got, NLT, New Living Translation. It's a translation, very easy to read. And then you have CSB. I preach out of the CSB.
See, well, my granny used the Living Bible.
Paraphrase.
Way back.
Yeah, it's a paraphrase.
My granny was all about the Living Bible.
Because it's easy to read.
Easy to read. Yeah.
Easy to read.
Well, my granny was born in the 1800s, so, right, Laura?
Oh. But you're the baby.
Yes, because my mom was born in 30, and she's in the middle. She's born in 35, I'm sorry. And she's in the middle of the pack as far as kids go.
Right. Yeah, the Living Bible was hot in the 70s.
Yeah, I think now, because they never
But,
94.
you know, again, being a paraphrase, it's over here a little.
But that has nothing to do with April showers and May flowers.
But this is what we do. We just walk down whatever pathway we walk.
And that was it really was informational. That could be a 2-minute takeout. That's what you should call them, 2-minute takeouts.
2-minute takeouts. Okay.
When you take like snippets of your sermon.
Yeah.
And you
if I only had somebody that would do that for me, because I don't have time to do that.
And he's not talking to me.
No, I'm not. I'm talking to somebody out there.
2-minute takeouts. Gosh, what a name. Let's trademark that.
Trademark that.
Let me have that. Somebody mark this spot right here. So bad things happen.
They do.
Unfortunate things happen.
You know, I've always said there's two types of evil, which result in different things. There's the evil that I do, so I have to face the consequences of that evil that I choose to do. Then there's the evil other people do that affects me.
Exactly, like drunk drivers.
You know, I did nothing wrong, but I'm still facing the results and consequences of somebody else's wrong. You know, famous example in the Bible, you know, the baby died.
Yeah.
As a result, you know, Uriah died just because David wanted to sleep with Bathsheba. Uriah didn't do anything wrong. In fact, he came home and it was so honorable, it ticked David off.
Yes.
Because David had a plan to get out of it. So there's the evil we do. He slept with Bathsheba. There's the evil done to us. Uriah was killed because of David's situation.
Right.
You know, and so does why do bad things happen to good people? Because there's evil in our world.
Because there's evil in our world. And I think that's the best way to explain it.
Well, but Sunday I brought up a point that is hard for all of us to handle. How do I pray in my suffering, results of evil?
Mm-hmm.
How do I pray to the one who could have allowed me to not be in this? That's the hard part.
Well, that's the faith factor.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
But how many do you know that struggle with that? Well, a good God wouldn't let me do that.
I know at least two.
Sure.
We struggle with that.
Absolutely.
We struggle with that same thing.
Absolutely. I will run through the gamut of questions all the time. That doesn't mean I settle in on that, but I still at times will say, why me?
Mm-hmm.
Why now? Why? But that's natural. If you ask those questions, you're normal. Okay. If you don't ask those questions, I would suggest you are not self-aware. I don't think you're being honest with yourself. Oh, I never asked those. I have full faith in all that God does. Yeah, okay. Let's get honest.
Yeah. It's not always rainbows and unicorns.
I love Jesus. I love God, and I trust him implicitly. However, it doesn't mean I don't question things.
And that's human nature, right?
It's who we are.
I would, man, if there is a person out there that just absolutely doesn't have questions or doesn't question things,
I don't think they're being honest with themselves.
Gosh, I would love to live like that.
Yeah.
But I don't.
And maybe we haven't lived long enough to be able to live like that.
Maybe that's what it is. I have an aunt. She just turned 94. I don't know that she has a care in the world.
Right.
Honestly, I mean, she's seen her kids grow up. She's lost children. She's lost grandchildren.
Yep.
And her heart is right with the Lord, and she is at perfect peace.
Yes. I think the struggle happens in this time of life because there are responsibilities we have, whether it's spousal responsibilities, parental responsibilities, vocational responsibilities. We have responsibilities, and that weighs on us to meet the responsibilities that we have. That line of how much am I supposed to do and how much am I supposed to just rely on God to do?
How much do you sit back and wait? Or how long do you sit back and wait?
Where's the line? And it's blurry and it's gray.
Am I willing to pray for something for a month?
Right.
For 2 months?
Right.
For half a year? For a year or even longer?
Or at what point am I willing to do that? But God answered me 6 weeks ago. I just didn't pay attention to it. Because it's more comfortable for me to continue to ask than to live with the answer.
Live with the answer. Gosh, that's some deep stuff today, man.
Well, I mean, but that's where the suffering comes. Think about it. If God gave me the answer and I refuse to see that, I refuse to hear it, then
God just said no.
I'm gonna suffer because I'm still agonizing over a decision that's already been made.
I want to keep pressing because I want the yes.
Right. So you've predetermined the answer you want from God.
Yeah.
And you're not satisfied until you get that. That's the definition of suffering. Because you won't pay attention to the answer you've already been given.
That's some deep stuff, man.
But that's where we live. And then we want to blame God for the problem because we've abdicated our responsibilities. We want God to be culpable for that. It's like, okay, but if you listen, you've already gotten the answer.
This just turned into deep talks with Pastor Aaron. There's,
but so many people suffer, sometimes needlessly,
out of stubbornness.
I want what I want. I want what I saw a thing the other day, and I posted it on my Facebook. You can go back and check it. Person comes up. It's a conversation between a person and church.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do X.
Okay.
Church says, you're free to do that, but you don't agree with X. No. But I want to do X. Okay, you're free to go do that. Oh, so but you don't want me to do that. No, I want what's best for you, and doing X isn't best for you.
Right.
Oh, so you want to control me? No, you are free to make any decision you want, but in your best interest, I don't think you should do X. Why do you hate me?
Why do you hate me?
This is the conversation that the church and the culture are having right now.
Well, you're right. We don't hate. If we do hate, we're in the wrong place.
Right.
We shouldn't hate.
Our culture is suffering because they want to do X.
Mm-hmm.
And they want the church to say, it's okay that you do X. And it's like the church says, I can't say that doing X, I can't say that's okay.
I cannot justify that behavior.
Right. I love you, but I can't justify and I can't condone the action that you're doing. And the world doesn't understand that. In our cancel culture, they don't understand that. So they're suffering, sometimes needlessly, simply because we want what we want when we want it, and we want the church to rubber stamp it. And the church, some churches that are saying, I can't rubber stamp that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're being accused of being hateful.
Right.
We're accused of being prejudicial and racist. And we're being accused of being, all these things that we're not. We have a different moral code. I love you. I just can't condone what you do.
Right. That doesn't mean I'm going to treat you any differently.
No. Well, did you see the conversation? This is going to get real. Did you see the conversation on Crowley Talk the other day? That somebody,
I did.
Somebody said,
is this church
LGBTQ friendly?
Yeah.
And there's a difference between friendly and supportive.
Right.
We can be friendly, but it doesn't mean I support that lifestyle. And hey, First Baptist Church Crowley, I follow the Bible. I'm sorry if that offends somebody. I'm going to be friendly to you, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to support the lifestyle that you have. There's a huge difference. And hey, some churches out there are going to do that.
But I'm also not going to judge you for your lifestyle. I'm not going to be the person that
I'm not the judge. God's the judge, not me.
I'm not going to.
That's why I love you.
I can't call out the speck in your eye with the plank in my eye.
I got my own sins.
Right.
I got my own problems.
But there's an issue.
But not all.
The world doesn't want to call sin.
Right.
Right. And so the church takes shots because
some generations of our church
we recognize sin.
Yeah. And that's a complication.
It is a complication.
And that causes suffering.
Because what sin was 80 years ago
is not considered culturally a sin
our
today.
Our world doesn't consider sin today.
Right.
Well, sin is simply missing the mark of what Jesus.
Right. Sin hasn't changed. The cultural definition of it has changed. Thank you, Dr. Spock, in the 70s when he led a revolution of psychology that wanted to change the definition of what sin was. Appreciate that.
That went downhill quick. But it's true. It's true. Look, bad things are happening all around us too.
Oh my gosh.
I think the more the world is accepting of sin and sinful behaviors, the worse our world's going to get.
Absolutely. On a totally different note.
Good.
Totally different note. A play-in team.
Oh my!
Is in the Final Four.
UCLA, go Bruins!
Go Bruins!
Holy cow! I mean, I know we have Baylor and we have Houston.
Yeah.
Man, UCLA at 11 as a play-in gets the Final Four. They beat Michigan.
I mean,
Juwan Howard's Michigan team. Come on!
It was a play-in team. They were 65-68 of a 64 grouping.
And now they're 4.
And now they're down to 4.
Not less than 4.
So you got a 1, a 1, a 2, and an 11.
Go Bruins.
That didn't even make it to their conference championship.
Yeah.
They barely made it in the tournament, and yet here they are.
That's crazy. That's why it's called March Madness.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because this year is absolute madness. There have been more upsets this year.
I love it. I love that aspect of it. I mean, I have my favorite teams, and mine didn't make it.
I don't.
And that's okay.
I don't have a favorite college basketball team.
Well, my son attends a college, and so I have a favorite team. Anyway, but I still love the upsets because it just messes with the commentators' minds.
Yes.
All the prognosticators, it messes with their head. And I love it.
my home dynamic has changed recently.
Oh, okay.
Right. We have a few young men that are living with us, and two of them that are living with us absolutely love college basketball. And so we have sat for the last 2 weekends
And watch March Madness.
and the last 3 nights just watching basketball.
Yeah.
And just, man, it's fun.
It is fun.
It's fun.
Especially when the upsets happen.
Yeah. I was pulling for UCLA to win, but I never thought they would beat Michigan. Michigan's just too big inside, but
I wanted ORU to win, not because I approve of their theology, but I wanted them to. I just wanted the
cheer for the little guy.
I wanted the 15 to come at it, man.
Cheer for the little guy.
Oh, I wanted it to happen. It would have been so much fun.
There's been so many this year, and you know what? We're not going to remember it next year.
I don't remember last year.
It's because there wasn't one.
How
about you, COVID?
April Fool.
April. Okay, I'm out.
See you guys.
That's it. Go Cardinals.